some of my songs I have.
Hey, welcome back to Barley and Hops. I'm George. Today's a good day for filtering after we distill, and we've already done that. So we're going to filter, and then we're going to cut, and then we're going to show you a couple of techniques to age and flavor. Now remember, I'm going to show you not how to do it, I'm just going to show you how George does it. And look, it works for me, so hopefully it'll work for you. But it's really not that difficult. Plus, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of new techniques that you could put in your kit bag and get down the road. First, let me share something with you. I had a really great phone call from a guy named Bill Owens. He's the president of the Distillers Institute, the American Distillers Institute. And he saw a couple of our YouTube videos, and he was really excited about it. So he called and we talked for quite a while. He sent me a copy of the Distillers Resource Guide, which is an excellent magazine, and I'm really excited to get that. Plus, I got this this great American Distillers Institute member 2016. So look, if you want any information about the American Distilling Institute, just type in on your web browser distilling.com and you'll go straight to it. And Bill's there to answer questions. He's an author of several books. So we now have a contact with the American Distillers Institute, and I'm just overexcited about that in the first place because I get to share all of this with you, and you are the one that's going to benefit in the long run. So let's get at it. I've got a lot of stuff here that may be identifiable and recognizable to some of you, maybe not to all of you, but that's okay. Here's the mason jars, and we're going to use those later on. I've got these two jugs here, about 3/4 of a gallon each, and this may or it may not be about 180 proof moonshine, but it may or may not be, but we'll find out. We'll play with it. I've got some distilled water because we're going to use that as well. Of course, we got our alcoholometer and our test cylinder. I've got a funnel so I don't make a whole bunch of mess. And this is my zero water filter. Now, trust me, look, this one works for me. But the brittle water filter works just as well. So if you got a brittle water filter, please go ahead and use that. But this is a water filter. It's called the zero water filter. It's a 5-stage filter. And it comes with this handy top mechanism here. And I'm going to pull out a brand new filter because I like to change the filters fairly often. I'll change about every 2 or 3 gallons. Look, it's worth the price. The difference between a filtered spirit and an unfiltered spirit, unless you put them side by side, you're not going to be convinced. So I challenge you to do that. Pour a little bit in a glass, run the rest of it through a filter, pour it in a glass, and then test the two. And you'll be instantly sold on it. So I'm going to add a new filter because I usually add a new filter, like I said, every couple gallons, and it's about time. So in a moment we're going to do that, and I'll just fill this up and let it run. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but we'll let that run. A couple other things that we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to another good friend got in touch with me, again, based on the YouTube videos and based on our internet, Hugh, and he produces these, it's Charter Oaks Heading and Stave LLC. And he produces these Jack Daniel's staves that you can use for aging spirits, and they're made from old Jack Daniel's barrels from the white oak. And they're already pre-charred and ready to go. They're a little bit large, so they won't fit in the gallon jar. That's why we've got the quarts. So we're going to drop it in there, and one of these is good for, as a matter of fact, the instructions will tell you, it says one is good for a half a gallon. And you can use them over and over again until the flavor dissipates. So we're going to try those, and we'll get some results from that, and we'll share that with you. You know me, I'm always into the medium toasted oak chips. I like them because there's a lot of surface area, and they last a long time. And we also have the oak staves. They are also medium toast. And what I'll do is, they got a hole in the middle there, but these come like 5 or 6 to a pack. And what I'll do is I'll place it down here, put a knife on the edge of it. What I'll do is hit it with a hammer. And you can see when you do that, it's just like splitting wood. And I'll split off a few shards, and these will fit right down inside the bottle. So I'll cut off a bunch of those and stick those in there as well. So we've got that. Now, and one of the other things I want to show you is some additives that we can put at the very end, because I'm going to prepare all of this in order to store it in my barrel. And we'll get the barrel out here and show you that as well, because I'm going to fill the barrel up. So this will be like a 2 or 3 day process. We'll put it all together. But what I also want to add to it is I'm going to add some glycerin. Now it's glycerin, Glycerin, or Cerine, or glycerol. So all three names mean exactly the same thing. You can check it out and look it up, but it's a wonderful product, and I guess it's a close hold secret. Why is it such a secret, man? Share it with everybody you know who's doing moonshine or trying to make their own liquors. First of all, it's one of the primary ingredients in schnapps because it makes it thicker, a little sweeter. It's great at about 2 ounces per gallon, depending on your taste, to help age a spirit. It'll take the bite out of a shine. So you know that when you take that sip and you get that, oh, that's really good, but wow, it's got that bite to it. You know that some like it, most people don't. This will remove that. It'll also help in aging. So it'll advance your aging process quite rapidly. Plus it's got a very little bit of residual sweetness to it that you won't notice in a liquor, but is there, and it's a wonderful carrier for any other flavors that you have. So, and don't worry, I mean, glycerin is perfectly safe. It's not nitroglycerin, it's just glycerin, and it's used throughout the food industry. It's got so many medical properties. It's used for a whole bunch of, it's used for a whole bunch of different things. The one good thing about it is it's not absorbed by the body. So it's a perfect additive for a liquor, and it passes right through the body and it's not absorbed. So it's just a wonderful thing to have. So I offer that to you as well. And you'll also notice a day-night difference in your product should you throw a little bit of glycerin in there. Now, use glycerin carefully. Again, it's sort of that add to taste. All right. I don't know what else I can tell you except we're going to get started, and I'm going to pour my first jug into my filter and let it run. Now remember, folks, please, if you're going to use this filter for your shine to filter your product, your spirit, which this may or may not be, please don't ever use this again for water, because if you use water, it'll leave some residual water in there, and then the next time you pour your shine through it, it'll dilute that. And of course, you'll call and say, hey, I poured it in at 110 and it came out at 90. Well, you diluted it with water. Not to mention the potential for the grandkids or your kids to use it for water and then make some Kool-Aid out of it. And if you've used it for shine first and then water, can you imagine? Yeah, there'll be a little shine with that Kool-Aid, and they will be what they call happy, happy, happy. So, see there, that thing it'll hold about 3/4 of a gallon. So, I'm going to allow that to sit. That'll take 20, 30 minutes for it to all run through and be clear, and then I'll do the other one. And in the meantime, we'll get set up and we'll start doing some mixology. Well, like they say, there's no time like the present. We still got good, almost 3/4 of a gallon going through our filter here, so but we're not going to wait on that. We've got this one I've already poured off. And you can see here what I've got is, let's find out what our proof is. And that ought to give us an idea on just about how much water we should add to that. And you don't have to worry if you make a mistake. You've got plenty of leeway to go back and forth. Now, there is a formula that you could use to determine how much water you need to bring down. But why do the long? Let's have more fun with it. All right, I've got 175 sitting right here. All right, 175, and I'm going to bring that down to about 80. So I'm looking in here and I'm figuring at least, maybe about a good 1.5 quart or so of some distilled water. So I'll just add some distilled water to it. Now, you know what you're going to notice? You're going to notice how this clouds up and bubbles, but don't worry about it, because after all the oxygen finishes coming out of it, it'll clear right back up again. And I'm going to go overboard just a little bit because I believe I can get it down to about 80. I'm hoping on the first try. I'm hoping. All right. I'm just going to let that sit there. Where's my cap? Here we go. Now we're going to mix it. Make sure it mixes really well. Now you see how cloudy that looks? Oh, that'll clear itself up. You can watch it as those air bubbles start to leave. It'll clear itself right up. Look, I've got the wood staves ready. Like I told you, I've split those up. I've got my medium oak chips. I've got the ones that Hugh sent us, and we're going to give them a try and give him some feedback. and we'll let you know how to order these if you like, but they're from Charter Oaks, and he's in Jasper, Alabama. So, matter of fact, his phone number is 205-265-1025. And we'll put that on screen as well. So you can give him a call. So, handmade in the USA. Gotta love it. And that's what I'll put. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put that on my bottles when I'm finished. I got some American flags. Made in the USA. So here it is. It's all cleared up. We're gonna pour some of that back into our test cylinder. This is where a parrot comes in handy when you're distilling, but when you're mixing, yeah, it's nice to have one of these cylinders. Now let's see where it ends up. We are at, by golly, I'm only at 110. I've got a ways to go, and I don't have a whole lot of room left in there. So I'm going to have to do some finagling here and use one of these jars to not get rid of, but to transfer some of this shine until I can get this one down to 80. So I'm going to wind up with more than a gallon out of that one batch. All right, I'm going to leave that one there. Now, you notice that when I did do the filtering, that I filtered the spirit at a high proof. You know, you can run it, you can cut it first and then filter it, but I figure if I'm going to filter it, if I filter it at high proof, it doesn't really matter because I'm filtering it. Or if I cut it, it's just going to take longer to go through the filter. That's all. So I'll do it this way. Let me get some of that poured out of there. Now we're going to let those air bubbles settle, and we'll go right back into testing. I'll set this jar aside. Yeah, my air bubbles are quickly dissipating. Just wait with me for a few seconds. It really doesn't take that long. There they are. Okay. Just about gone. Now, if you've got anything else floating in your shine, don't blame it on air bubbles. It could be something you put in there. It could be something that came out of your still. All right, here we go. We are now at, I think I'm going to leave it there too, because I'm at 90 proof. 90 proof. Now, as a matter of fact, I don't know. I'm just anal about that. I really want to get it down to 80. So let's do this. Let's pour some more out. I'll be able to use this in that other jug anyway, so here it goes. Now I've used almost, we've used 3/4 of a gallon of distilled water, and we're still at 90 proof. Oh my. Well, I'm not going to complain about having a whole lot. It's better to have and not need than need and not have, I guess. Okay, air bubbles gone. You know what I should have done? Since I just poured that in the top, whoa, I should have given that a shake. And that's what I'm going to do. Because I want to make sure that I have an accurate proofreading there. Okay. We'll let that sit. Come on, air bubbles. You know, while we're waiting here for these air bubbles, I had a call today and somebody asked me if about tails. If you're using tails from a sugar shine or if you're using tails from a grain based mash, can you use those in other mashes? And the answer is absolutely yes. You don't have to stick with the same type of mash when it comes to adding in your tails. Tails are just great. You can add them into just about anything. But the only thing that I'd caution you about is to know that if I'm going to make a grain alcohol and I put in a sugar shine tails into it, you may change a little bit of the character or flavor of that, just a little, but just a hint. I don't think it's going to be enough to really make that much of a difference. But then again, we're not that scientific, are we? God, it smells awful good. I think I'm going to get a contact high here. All right. Oh, yes. Now, that's a perfect, that's 80 proof right there. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So now I can start doing some of the other things that I want to do as I prepare this next gallon that I'm going to work on. So my favorite are these oak chips. And when I add these, this is a 2-ounce bag or a 4-ounce bag. So it only takes about 2 ounces per gallon. So I'm going to throw in about a half a bag of these. And what I like about these are that they float and then they'll start to sink. But within about 24 hours, you get this really, really beautiful bronze look about your spirits. And also, it starts to really smooth it out a whole lot. Now, remember I told you about in the end, whoops, just a little bit too much there. In the end, what we're going to do is we're going to add some glycerin. And I'll add the glycerin probably tomorrow. I could add it today. It doesn't really matter. But I'll probably add it tomorrow because what I want is I want those chips to start to color that. And so you can see they're starting to sink some now. But listen, and it doesn't matter. Every day you walk by it, you're going to want to. You're going to feel the urge to pick it up and shake. Just go ahead and pick it up and shake it. It's not going to hurt it, but you're going to have that urge. So just take advantage of it. Once this is finished, I'll strain those out, and I'll have nothing but an amber, beautiful liquor in here, and then we'll start to do whatever else we want to do to it. So in the meantime, I've got some more here that I got to work on, and we'll probably be back with you in the morning when we've added these oak staves from the Jack Daniel's barrels to these quart jars when I get this at the right proof. And I'm going to use these sticks in my other gallon jug when I get that to the right proof. So if you would, bear with us. And for now, I got a little bit more work to do, but we'll see you in the morning. Happy brewing. Yeah.